Are you looking for a new whiskey adventure? Then climb in and buckle up. Get ready for one hell of a ride on the Whiskey Trip podcast with your host, Big Chief. Join in as he and his guests explore whiskey and dive into whiskey stories from around the world. Now here's your host, Big Chief.
Folks, you know, here on the Whiskey Trip, we celebrate more than just the pour in our glass. We celebrate heritage, tradition, and the stories that make this country what it is. That's why I'm proud to tell you about our friends at the Heritage Flag Company. These aren't just flags, they're handcrafted works of art built from whiskey and bourbon barrels that once held the spirit we all love. Every cut, every nail, every burn mark tells a story of patience and craftsmanship. Just like the whiskey we sip, these flags are bold, timeless, and full of character. Whether you hang one in your home bar, your man cave, or gift it to a veteran or first responder, a heritage flag isn't just decor. It's a statement. It says you believe in freedom, tradition, and the legacy we pass down. So saddle up, whiskey family, and head over to theheritageflag.com. Use code WhiskeyTrip10 at checkout for 10% off your order. Let them know Big Chief sent you. Because just like your favorite pour, the Heritage Flag Company is made to be shared, honored, and remembered. Now let's get on to the show. Hey, it's old Big Chief, and yeah, you're taking another ride on the Whiskey Trip, baby. And do I got a story for you today? Yes, I always got a story for you because I got whiskey in my glass. And I always say, I love to be the Paul Harvey of whiskey and bring you the rest of the story, or as I like to say, the rest of the dram. Now, when I was a little kid and I sat in a classroom, I was always dreaming of something. I was dreaming of monster trucks. When I was growing up, they had them little bitty stomper monster trucks. I was always dreaming about that. And then when I got into high school, I think I was dreaming about whiskey all the time. I always sitting in the classroom thinking, man, what kind of trouble can I get in this weekend or tonight with my buddies and my girlfriend? Well, you know, that's the story of life right there for you. Always dreaming. And don't ever stop dreaming. Don't give up on your dreams. But I got a young man and woman today that they're living their dreams. I've got Kim and Thom Bard from Bard Distillery in Graham, Kentucky, Muhlenberg County there in western Kentucky. Welcome to the Whiskey Trip, my friends.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Now, you guys, when I said all that, Thom, you built a distillery in your school. Was that always the plan?
That was never the plan. It turned out to be a stupid plan. So it's interesting. They abandoned this school a long time ago. It was an old school built in the 1920s. So like a lot of places, they decided they needed a new one about 30-something years ago. Basically let this thing to rot. And but I went to school there as a kid from kindergarten up through 6th grade. 3 generations of my family before me graduated from there. So a lot of history with the schools. But, once I left there, I never thought any more about it. But then once we fell in love with the whiskey industry and thought, hey, this is something we want to get into, I said, I know the place. But it was in bad shape. But we can get into that as we go on. But it's funny that as I'm working on it and as I'm over there doing demolition, construction, adding equipment, only about once every couple months will I sit down to rest and look around in the room I'm in and suddenly get a flashback. And it's odd. It's the oddest feeling in the world to suddenly, while I'm sitting there hooking something up to my still, suddenly I'm back to playing with blocks in 3rd grade. It's a weird feeling.
Now, you know what's even weirder is that you married a school teacher and she's making whiskey in a schoolhouse. Now, Kim, was that your plan to say, hey, you know what I should do? I like drinking whiskey. I'm going to make it in a school.
Never in my wildest dreams. No, not till I met Thom. I really didn't even grow up drinking. I grew up in a really strict military family. Church 9 times a week, whether you needed it or not. No, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. So didn't grow up in a family that even drank alcohol much. My parents would drink wine on special occasions, but it just wasn't part of my life. I met Thom, and he was a huge Maker's Mark fan. He loved Maker's Mark. And that was back when Maker's was not in every restaurant and not in every bar, and it wasn't in every store. So that's a whole other that's a whole other side of the story about really how we got started. But we became ambassadors for Maker's Mark, and we were traveling and giving out those cards to everybody we saw that didn't have makers. So we really feel like Suntory should have thanked us when they bought Maker's Mark.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we helped build
We need
that
a cut of
company.
that. I'll talk to Rob and Bill about that, see if I can get something.
I think we all helped build that distillery for sure.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
On our travels, I remember traveling through there one time. Me and my wife just by chance stopped in Bardstown, and we were like, we asked somebody, it's like something you got to do. They were like, you got to drive down there. So we drove all these back roads to get down there and went there before it is what it is today, and taste their whiskey. And I was always a big fan of the military of Maker's Mark. I am a weeded bourbon nut. So much so, my hashtag was Weeded King of Kentucky.
Oh,
There
really?
you go.
Wow, all right. Yeah, it's been pretty neat the last couple of years. We've actually,
Yeah.
last few years, we've actually had the chance to be around Bill and Rob and be able to explain to them that our very first distillery we ever visited was Maker's Mark, and that's what made us fall in love with everything. And
We pulled a race car there, and it was on a trailer.
yeah, we were bringing an old cup car that Morgan Shepherd used to race that I had bought, and was bringing it back up to Kentucky, to sit out by the shop in case everyone do anything with it, as one does. And we stopped by Maker's Mark going the long way around through Kentucky and pulled into where I guess now it's where their cellar is that they built into the side of the mountain at Maker's. That used to be the parking lot. And we pulled in there, and there was no one in the parking lot at all. It was wintertime, snowing. So we pulled in, went in there. We were the only two people there in the visitors in the gift shop, which was smaller than what ours is now. And Dave Pudlow was the person that gave us our first tour. And he was, if you ever had the opportunity to meet Dave Pudlow, he is a very, animated, very expressive person. So we just had an absolute ball going on this tour. Had no idea a tour of a distillery could be this fun. And the excitement, the passion that he showed. So when we got done with that, we left there just thinking, man, that was a really good time. Well, a couple weeks later, after we visited some family before we headed back to North Carolina, where we were still working and racing, we stopped back by there again. And this time we walked in the gift shop, and there was about four of us, two of us and one other couple, I believe. And this guy walks out, older gentleman, starts talking to us, chatting us up. We're having a good time. And then he says, hey, would you guys like a tour? And they were free back then, by the way. So we started following him out there. He just starts taking us all around. Well, it was Bill Samuels. We never met Bill. Didn't know who Bill was.
Didn't know who he was.
But he took us for a tour of this place, and it just meandered, went on forever.
And yeah, Bill, once he starts talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just a hoot. And once we got done with that tour, and this was our second visit in 2 weeks, we got in the car and left, and she and I were still working and racing at the time, and about burnout from that. And we said, wouldn't it be cool if we actually got into this someday? Because this is a lot of fun. And that was in 2006, I guess. So that's where the spark started. So we do have Bill to thank for the hell we put ourselves through on a daily basis. It's Bill's fault.
Well, I know listeners are wondering. They see me nosing this whiskey and sipping on a little bit. And I got your first expression you guys sent me. And I'm very grateful. I want to say thank you so much for your hospitality and sending your whiskey to share with me and to share with my friends and for share with newbies in the whiskey world and say, hey, here's some great whiskey I want you to try from Craft Distillery. But the first bottle I'm drinking on, listeners, is the Cinder and Smoke 10-year-old they have here. This is a 100 proofer right here. Now, you guys aren't 10 years old, so tell me about this whiskey right here.
All right. So this bourbon, obviously, it's sourced. It's all from Kentucky, and it actually comes from quite a few different distilleries. We don't just source it from one. We get it from quite a few. And some of these, since they're 10 years old, we've had them for a long time. So we got those barrels back when it was a little bit harder to find barrels. And, we try to be very selective on what we got, and then we still have so few barrels that I actually get to go into the rick house and taste most of them pretty often.
That's a horrible job.
It's a terrible job, isn't it? It really is. So with this one, whenever we do our Cinder and Smoke Founder Select, there's only 3 barrels to go into it. Kim and I do all of the work on that and choose which ones go in. And it's been our version of a single barrel, but we thought a single barrel's too easy. You find a barrel that tastes great, you're done. we thought, what if we find 3 barrels that taste great, and then just figure out a way to put them, 3 of them together and make them taste even better.
And we always, I'm going to stop you right there for just a second.
Go for it.
When we opened our doors, we opened up with a 13-year. So that was bourbon that we had sourced when it was 9 years old. We brought it into our old gymnasium, put it on the floor, and just left it. So when we're looking for those 3 barrels for the Cinder and Smoke, we're looking for that same flavor profile that we've had since the beginning. So that's why we choose 3 barrels. Then we blend them together. So we've actually chosen the same 3 barrels 2-3 times. We choose 8 to 10, and then out of those we're looking for those 3.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna tell you what,
in this one, we always do everything, of course, minimum, 5 years old and older. We've got some pretty old stuff in stock. And this one, it just happened that by the time we got done, and then we always do blind taste testing. We don't do it by age, we do it by taste. And this time we looked and realized, wow, all 3 of these are actually over 10 years old. And I actually think 2 of them are 12. So it's actually a 10 and a 12, but by law, we can only
It's a
put
10,
what the youngest
Yep.
spirit is. But it's a rye-based bourbon. Again, all of them from Kentucky. 2 of them actually are from the same distillery. The third one is from its own. And I had a lot of fun putting this together. It's been very well received.
Now, why the name? You guys even signed this. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's why
it's
that's why we
almost
can't
as
hardly use our
beautiful
hands
as
anymore.
the.
They're just-
It's almost as beautiful as the whiskey inside, because this is a tasty sucker right here. Why
you.
the name Cinder and Smoke?
Well, when we went to name this, we were trying to, of course, come up with what are our products going to be, and we realized that all of the bourbons that we liked usually came from a really heavy char barrel. And again, this is going back quite a few years, but heavy char barrel. And then I liked a smoky finish on a bourbon myself, but I don't like that smoke that stays with you. I want it to be a light smoke, and then I want it to dissipate immediately. Because on occasion, I've got some friends that I'll get together and we'll smoke cigars. And I hated to have a bourbon that actually would fight with the cigar. And 30 seconds into a nice bourbon and a nice cigar, I know they make good pictures when you're doing both, but 30 seconds later, you just got a sore throat and you're not having a good time at all. So we thought, what if we have one that has smoke, but it goes away almost immediately? That way you can sip it neat, you can enjoy it, you can also enjoy it with a cigar. So when we kept just thinking of names, we thought Cinder for the really heavy char and all these barrels that we're putting into this, then the Smoke, which is the last thing you get, but then it's just gone. So it's kind of the alpha and omega of it, how it starts and how it finishes is basically where we came up with it. Plus, Cinder and Smoke is a term that I've heard my whole life whenever something is just done. When it is, there's nothing more to it. It's usually it has to do with a house or a barn that burned down. But it's just a term that kind of stuck.
Now, while I'm sipping on this whiskey right here, you both have a storied lives, really, from Kim being a NASCAR driver, and also a monster truck driver, and a school teacher, and yourself is being on a pit crew. Is that where you two met? Was he your pit crew, Kim? And I gotta have this man right here. He can carry a tire.
Actually, he.
Got a strong back. I'll take that one.
I got recruited or talked into, or I won't go into much detail, with a race team over in Eddyville, Kentucky, of all places. Most of the race teams are around the Charlotte area. But this guy called me and said, I got a ride for you. Come on over and let's talk. So he talked me into it. Turned out to be a really shitty man. But anyway, Tom walked in.
Hope he hears it. He knows,
I do
he
too.
knows who he is.
He knows who he is. Tom walked into the shop one day. We were looking for another crew member. And I went over when I saw him walk in to the front office, I don't think he saw me. And I went back to Vicky, who did all the hiring. And I looked in, I said, I don't know who this guy is out here, but I don't care what he can do, hire him. So I went back out and took another look, and she came back out with me. So I was going to hire him even if he drooled.
Yeah, all lies. They just needed somebody who had a pulse. That's what they needed. But yeah,
well, I tell you what, that guy, if you said he's a horrible man, I tell you what, I'll come up to Kentucky and give a Kentucky size ass whooping out. If you need me.
He no longer lives here. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
He had to leave town.
He's probably down there closer to where you are right now, and so you
Yeah.
can have him. But I also want to point out that
horrible.
this was the NASCAR Busch Series. So we're not talking about, when we talk about racing, this was the second top stock car racing series in the world that she was driving for. Now it's the Xfinity Series, and it's probably got a new sponsor this
Coming up
upcoming
here,
year.
yeah.
But yeah, so we're
I
talking
actually
Kim.
watched her race before,
did
and I
you?
didn't put two and two together until today. And I was like, I watched her race before. I can't believe this. Life just happens that way sometimes.
It does.
And, I just was fascinated that, number one, I got a woman NASCAR driver on the show, but a monster truck driver, a school teacher, a mechanical engineer, and now distillers. What a great story. Perseverance is what I think, out of somebody. And you two said you got burnt out in NASCAR. I gotta say hats off to you to realizing, hey, this just ain't fun anymore for us.
Yep.
Most people can't do that in their life. They can't step away from something and say, hey, I need to do something different. I'm calling kettle black on myself because, I've been working for the military for 35 years. I've been doing this podcasting thing for 7 years, and I feel like I just can't quit it. But what the great thing is that I get to drink great whiskey with great people, so it's fun. And there's stories you tell, and you're like, oh, this feels robotic. But it's stories like yours that I'm like, man, I love this story right here. This is why I do this. And the whiskey, it just makes that even better to drink great whiskey. That I can almost taste the passion in it. That I know when you talk about blending different barrels, and you found those cherry barrels, and you're like, this is pretty magical right here. We got to make this work. So, hats off to you. We'll get on to this second pour of whiskey right here. Is gonna be your Cinder and Smoke Oloroso sherry barrel. Now, tell me a little bit about this right here. This is another 100 proofer.
Yeah. So this.
No, go ahead.
So this is our the one that you're giving away. It's that bourbon. I'm gonna hand this to you, Tom. I already have some poured.
Thank you.
This bottle, I think that you're giving away. It's this bourbon that went into Spanish Oloroso sherry casks for 1.5 years. So this was a minimum of 4 years when it went in. Yep. So those sherry casks spent 20 years in Spain holding Oloroso sherry. Then they went to Speyside and held Scotch whiskey for another 20 years. So these 40-year-old sherry butts, so we said we've got to get these and try them out. Turned out to be a magical combination, in our opinion. We have people that buy this and only buy this blend. It's really, really special.
And we learned after the fact, after we left it in these butts for 1.5 years, we thought it's what everybody did. And then we realized that, well, if you left them in there for 1.5 years, that means that butt was pretty much done if it took you that long to get the flavor out of it. Because most people anymore, when you're doing a finishing, there's a lot of, staves involved that you throw in, or some chips or something like that, which is fine. We didn't know any better. But it turns out that because the Oloroso was so weak in that old ancient barrel, that it took a long time to pick up the flavors. But the beauty of it is it did exactly what we wanted to do. We have a bourbon with a sherry finish instead of what we sometimes get with a finished bourbon where the bourbon's gone. Now it's just, it tastes almost like a concoction. So we're really thrilled with how this came out because it's a subtlety. About 1 out of every 40 people actually pick up on some Scotch notes because there was some Scotch in those butts for quite a while. But when I drink it, it only hits me about every 10th time that I sip it. I'll get a little bit of a peat, a little bit of a Scotch note. But some people never get it. Some people get it right off the bat. I love stuff like that just sneaks up on you. You don't know when it's going to come through.
Well, I say cheers to both of you. Thanks for taking this ride on a whiskey trip with me.
Sure.
Like I
Thank
said,
you.
you're family now, so.
Likewise, thank you. And thank
Now,
you for
until
your
you
service
said
before
that-
we go any further.
Yeah. You're welcome. I don't never know what to say to that when people say,
And
"Thank you for
there's
service."
nothing to say.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
it's just
understand.
to be honest with you, the last 4 years of it was like being in prison. It was tough. My body was just beat to down after 20 years, and I knew I had to do 4 more for some certain reasons for my daughter's education, and I was just like, I can do this. I can do this. Every day I'd go back to work, and I'd be like, you know what, I don't have to do this no more. But you know, I'm
Well,
gonna go
that's
serve
what
with
it
pride.
is. I
And
mean, sacrifice, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what you did.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It is, you know, and some people that don't do it, they can't understand that. But I look back on it and I'm proud of that every day. I'm proud of you know, I still work for the military, and I watch these young men and women walk in and do things that I'm still amazed at every day. And I'm very thankful for our service members out there. My son serves today in the Air Force. He's on his 8th year.
Oh,
and
nice.
We're very proud of that, continuing that military service. And my wife, hell, she's never not known the military her entire life. Her dad served in the Air Force for 26 years. I did 24, and now my son is 8 years. So she's been I say this to her all the time, you're an amazing woman. And she's, you know, being a daughter, a mother, a wife, and then now a mother of the military is something amazing. And spouses that have to go through those sacrifices, move every 3 or 4 years, it's almost unnoticed, and I wish we could get people to notice that even more. You know,
Absolutely.
don't always just thank the service member. Look at that wife that's walking behind her, or that husband that walks beside their spouse, and say, "Hey, thank you for your whole entire family," because it takes an entire family to get somebody through that sacrifice. So I appreciate both of you saying that. This whiskey right here, if you wouldn't have said the Scotch thing, I think I would have picked it up a little bit. But a beautiful whiskey right here, man. I cannot wait.
you.
I got a bottle share coming up in January, the second week in January, with a bunch of folks. We'll be out here at our farm out here, Bayou Sunset Farm, and I cannot wait to put this on the table and say, hey, I got something for you guys. But my God, what a beautiful whiskey. I know some people just beat up on finishes, but this is finished just spectacular. I get that Oloroso. I've got the orange notes coming from this, that marmalade that takes me back to my grandmother making marmalade and stuff. And it doesn't need a whole lot of words to explain it, but I get that slight hint of smoke on this, like you said. That almost makes it perfect. A perfect whiskey, and it's only 100 proofer. I think it drinks a little hotter than that, actually. I was thinking about around 105. What a beautiful whiskey in a different bottle too. I was almost thinking it would be a brandy bottle. Was there a reason why you guys picked that bottle right there?
It's just the old apothecary look. We love that for our bottles, and I think this one's called the mallet. It looks like a mallet, like you could hit someone over the head if you need to.
Yeah, I'm surprised she hasn't yet. It's bound to happen.
But yeah,
Yeah,
we
it does
love
look
the
like an
bottle.
old woodworking, like a
Yeah,
woodworking
it does,
mallet.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
And,
I
and what
like
you
it.
said about the
It's very
finishes,
beautiful.
we have people that come into the distillery and do tastings, and you know, we tell them that we have a finished product, and about maybe 1 out of every 5 will say, "Oh, I don't like anything finished. I don't like Oloroso finishes." And I always say to them, "Try ours. If you don't like others, try ours." And those people always walk out with a bottle.
And one thing I'll say about that is that when we say try ours, if those were too, what they usually say is that the other finished ones were too strong for them. And when it comes to drinking spirits of any kind, you do have to work your way up. I mean, I'm not saying it's acquired taste, but it's an acquired palate to where it takes a while to get to where you can truly appreciate a high proof or a very strong spirit. But sometimes that's how people are introduced. They're introduced to spirits that way. And they, usually a friend of theirs who wanted to do it like they saw Clint Eastwood do it on a movie. You don't just shoot it back and burn your insides and then now you know what the experience is like. So we try to make all of our bourbons, all of our spirits to where they are smooth and soft. because mainly that's what I like. I want something like more often than not. And then we have a lot of people that we turn them on to these spirits because they go, wow, this actually can be enjoyable. And it just tells you how many people get a bad intro to it from the get-go.
People new to bourbon, of course, as a distillery, we get people that come in and, husband and wife team will come in and the wife drinks wine, the husband drinks bourbon. And they don't drink bourbon because they haven't had anything that's approachable to them. I am a bourbon wuss. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I did not grow up drinking. I grew up in a strict Baptist family. And I learned to drink bourbon after I met Thom.
By the way, I grew up Methodist, which is just Catholic light.
Yeah.
So we didn't drink a lot, but go for it if you want to.
So when we do our blending and when we make our spirits, we try to always think of that. The people that are going to be trying it, we want it to be approachable. We want it to be smooth. We want it to be for them to be able to get those flavors out. So we do this. We do everything very intentionally. For me, because I'm a bourbon wuss.
I think this is a perfect gateway whiskey or introduction whiskey for people that are wine drinkers, and it will kind of show them, if you're looking for a craft brand out there that kind of to match that Angel's Envy bottle, this is it right here. This is
Thank you.
Simply amazing. I think that you put this in people's hands and just teach them how to drink whiskey properly. The education of that is important. Is one of the most important things, getting somebody new to drink whiskey, but getting a whiskey like this in their hands. If they love wine, maybe they've sipped on a little sherry in their life, this right here is perfect for that in gateway. And that kind of takes me into my next question about you two, because Kim, you're a school teacher, and Thom, you're a mechanical engineer. What a perfect pairing to start up a distillery. I could just see both of your minds working on, because the distillery, the tasting room, the marketing of it is an education. So Kim, you fit perfectly into that. And then Thom, the mechanical engineering part of it is building a distillery, making it a chemical facility, if you would say, and making it run right. That's what mechanical engineers are all about, is figuring those problems out. Do you guys find that both of your professions blend well into that?
Absolutely. And the marketing side of it as well in NASCAR. I mean, when I first started racing, I had to find my own sponsors, and I've been racing since I was 15. So that was just natural to me to go, to find sponsors and figure out how to find money where there was no money. So that's a whole other side, that we could talk about, funding a distillery, because holy shit.
Funding a race car for a season was easier,
Yes.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
it was easier to find
this.
a sponsor for a car than it is to find someone to help you with the distillery.
So we've when people talk to me, that come in the tasting room or that come in to look at the distillery or take a tour, I try to speak to everyone that comes in. I don't always get to, because sometimes we're off-site doing things, but I try to talk to everyone, and they always say, "Oh my gosh, your story is so cool, and you're a race car driver and now you're making bourbon. That's got to be like a dream come true." And I always say I've been very blessed to be in the right place at the right time in my life. And my dad always said, "Do not ever say no to an opportunity." So I think that's those two things, and learning how to take a risk, and Mike, you know all about doing things because you're passionate about it and following it through to the end, and that just goes into what we do. We love what we do.
Yeah, and on my end, the main thing that being a mechanical engineer has done is that because I know just enough about things to know when someone else is full of shit. And that's basically, it's a very handy thing, because it doesn't take me long before I realize, like, okay, I don't know what to do, but I sure as hell know you don't.
He has sent more people down the hill, because our distillery is up on a hill. It's a beautiful setting. And he has sent more people down the hill with their tail between their legs, because they'll come up and see the huge buildings, and they'll come up to give us an estimate on doing something. And it takes Thom about 20 seconds to realize, they're either full of it or they're not. So
yeah, and normally they are, and that's a handy thing. It's saved us probably millions of dollars in construction. Gosh. But at the same time, it also ends up that I end up doing a lot of the work when I don't want to be doing it. But I'm still waiting for the right person with the right price to come along, that I feel like they know more than I do about something. And I'm not saying I know much, But that is very handy. It's saved us from a lot of horror stories that you'll hear from other distillers and other small business people who will tell you that, well, I didn't know, and everyone told me call these people, and they're the ones you want to use. And then, I come along with just enough of a work background and a education background on things that I'm like, no, you don't need to do any of that. You need to just take a hammer and hit the shit out of this over here, and it fixes it. You don't need to spend $50,000 on this new thing they offered you. Just knock the hell out of it. It'll fix it. So that has its moments. That's handy.
And I'm going to mention someone that Mike, Lisa Wicker. When we first got into the industry, Lisa and I met, and we can talk about this a little further in the segment if you'd like. But Lisa is the MacGyver of distilling. If there's a way to figure something out, she can go to the hardware store and come back with the miracle fix for whatever it is that you need. She's just amazing. So she and Thom get along beautifully. They can geek out together, and I just sometimes just sit there and nod my head. I know enough about cars and those things. I can rebuild a car for you tomorrow if you want, or tonight. Let's get started. But when it comes to putting together a distillery and knowing what has to happen, thank God that Thom has that background knowledge. Otherwise, this would have been a very extremely difficult thing to do, to take on, and we wouldn't have been able to afford to do it.
Well, Thom, I'm going to have to send you one of these shirts right here I'm wearing, one of these Bourbon Bullshitter t-shirts, just so you can point to it and say, I think you're a bullshitter, so you need some bourbon.
Yeah,
I will wear it until there are holes in it. I promise you. I will wear that out. Happy to.
Because there's just I know what you're talking about, because we'll get a contractor to come to our house and they'll show up in a F450 dually, pulling a big nice rig and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this guy, I see what they're all about. Or you see the guy that's just in a beat up old pickup, and he's like, man, I've got 1,000,000 miles on that thing, and it's paid for, and but
that's us.
You could tell where he invested at. To me, I'm like, man, that guy right there, he probably loves that ladder. I got a ladder that I've had since 1994. It's got green deck paint on it from Haiti, and they were going to throw it overboard, actually, is what they were going to do with it. And I was like, no, I'll keep it. And I've had that ladder since then. And then I got this wrench, and I actually broke down my wife said I had a moment, but I have a chainsaw wrench that I've had since I was 18 years old. And I thought when we moved down here, I lost that damn chainsaw wrench. And it just about broke my heart. I was like, man, I don't know where it's at. I got to find it. I was digging through everything, and I was like, I guess I lost it. And she was like, why are you so damn attached to that damn thing? Go buy another one. I was like, it's not the point. That thing, it's did well for me. I've had a bunch of chainsaws, but that one chainsaw wrench.
That's it.
Well,
That's the one.
I grew up on a farm, and then my dad was an auto mechanic as well. So over those years, there are certain tools that just have, when you touch it, suddenly you can just go back to any point in time when you have it in your hands. And I've got a couple of those. One of the main ones, actually, there's a bunch of them, but it's a 9/16 Craftsman socket. I have seen my father use that. I saw he just passed 5 years ago or 6 years ago when we started the distillery. But he and I have used that thing countless times, for 30, 40 years. So, and I still use it. It's still a perfectly good socket. But it's one of those things that anybody else would just say, man, it's just a socket. Go stick it, for 50 cents at the flea market. But I'm sitting there going, you don't understand. This thing, when it's in my hand, I can go to any point in most of my life, and within a day or two, I can remember something that happened with this. And then I've got my multi-tool that I used to carry in racing. That thing I have lost a couple of times.
Legendary.
And I was heartbroken every time I lost it. So finally, after I lost it for about the third time for 6 months, and finally found it back again, I was able to find some new old stock on eBay and bought another one that I'm now packing. So that one stays at the house. I still use it about every week, but no, I get it. The tools or anything like that, it's an important thing, and it also takes you back to, especially if you're going through a time that's way too busy, way too hectic, and you start to realize that, man, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if this is where I need to be in life. Have I messed up? Have I made a mistake? Am I even still me? You go back and you grab something like that, and suddenly you realize, oh no, here I am. Here, everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine.
Your touchstone. Yeah.
So when you're a tactile person, I don't agree with having lots and lots of stuff, even though we have more stuff than we need. Like,
I'm going to call bullshit on
we're
that.
pack rats. I'm doing better. I'm getting rid of a lot of things. Listen, I grew up in a family full of old people that went through the Depression, so they saved baling wire. I use baling wire on everything.
Well, we bought the farm from Tom's dad years ago after we met, and the basement in this house. How many old ladies lived here?
Oh, way too many, and they left all their geriatric accessories
and furniture and everything. There were canes and oh my gosh, what are those things called from the hospital?
The walkers, the bedpans.
Bedpans. Oh my God.
We had every color, when they were pink and even when they were still yellow. They're probably made of asbestos. Who knows?
But he still won't let me throw them away.
That is false. We've only kept one because they're handy as hell.
Oh my God.
But they're worth about 20.
I can go get a pink one right now. Put my hands on it.
Yeah, one. You can grab one pink one. You're exactly right. And I use the crap out of it too. You're not losing that.
What matters is, did you find any canned peaches down there? That's important. Some canned peaches from the 30s. That's
no, not that old, but we do have some stuff from the 90s that I think we haven't thrown away yet.
Because Grandma made it.
Yeah, it's out in the pantry, out in the garage. So we do have some stuff, and I'm not keeping that around for sentimental reasons. The fact is, they were good canners, so it's probably still good. So I just haven't. It's kind of like stuff at the bottom of the freezer. You look at it, go, I bet it'll be fine, and that's kind of where we are with this stuff.
It probably will be.
We're going to try it out.
Back to my point is, if you find somebody like that drives up to your house and they have that old ladder on their pickup and it's just a beat up old pickup and stuff, that means that's got them through life and they've taken care of it and it still matters to them, and that means that you're going to matter to them as a customer. That's a hard thing to find these days, I think.
It is.
It is
somebody who's very passionate about what they do. That's why I say this episode was meant to be, and sometimes you just got to take your time like good woodworking. I think Kim and I had 20 different conversations about how we're going to do this, but we finally are getting to do it, and I'm so excited about this episode right here that I'm getting to share your guys' whiskey and promote it out there, because that's what a podcast is a whiskey podcast, is promoting somebody's product. And man, what a spectacular kind of happenstance that Lisa Wicker put this in my hands and said, Mike, you got to try this, and that she trusted me enough to tell your guys' story, to tell her friend's story. That means the world to me. So listeners, you remember that. We're right up against the first half. What a great conversation so far. In the second half, we're going to get a little bit more serious. We'll talk about tariffs and how they're affecting craft distilleries. You can see I'm wearing my Craft Distilleries hat right here. We'll talk about Lisa a little bit and her story and stuff. She's taking a ride on a whiskey trip, so I've been trying to get her back on here with her new distillery, the old Whiskey Thief. That's something to come. I just got to pin her down, I guess. Listeners, you stick with us. We'll be right back. Leaper's Fork Distillery is an artisan distillery working to bring back the history and heritage of a small batch whiskey production to Williamson County. The distillery crafts premium spirits using local ingredients and limestone filtered water to create superior spirits with a signature taste. Yeah, I love their wheated bourbon. Leaper's Fork Distillery is characterized primarily as a low-volume, low-impact concept of production. They are excited and honored about bringing back a lost art and industry to a county that always puts its history and heritage at the forefront. Visit them today at leapersforkdistillery.com. All right, listeners, we're back for the second half, and we got Bard Distillery down in Graham, Kentucky. And my first pour for this second half is kind of, I guess it would be a tribute to a musician, John Prine. And one of my favorite songs of all time from John Prine is Angel from Montgomery. And what an amazing, talented artist. He defined a lot of my life, his music and stuff. A lot of people were like, I can't believe you listen to all kind of genres, but John Prine was one of my favorite artists of all time. Now, how did you guys get connected to his family in doing an expression for him?
So I went to a meeting at Thistle Farms over in Nashville with Fiona Prine. The meeting was to talk about how to basically start your own nonprofit to help people who are marginalized in your community. Thistle Farms is for women who have been trafficked and had all kinds of really harsh life things happen to them. And they'll basically come to Thistle Farms. They have to leave their family and basically get clean, get straight, learn how to start a new life, learn a skill. And they work really hard, and they graduate after they go through that season in their life. And to hear their stories, I mean, it's so inspiring. You know, I get up every day and complain that I have to walk, 20 yards to go make coffee, and they, the things that they have gone through, their families being ripped from them and things like that. Just, it makes you kind of take back, think about how wonderful your life really is compared to theirs. And so anyway, that was how we met. Kind of made fast friends, and I came back for another meeting with Fiona, and during that time, she said, if I know you guys have a distillery over in Muhlenberg County, which is where John's grandparents were from. I would love for John to have a bourbon. And I said, well, let's talk. I didn't want to put any pressure on her, and I didn't want to seem like I was pushing it, and that's not why I was there. So I just kind of left it at that. And then a couple of years later, unfortunately, after John passed away, there you go. After John passed away, she called me. She actually sent me a message and said, hey, thinking about doing a bourbon for John. And I said, well, let's get together and talk. And then long story short, Thom can tell the rest of it.
Yeah, so of course I grew up listening to John, singing John's songs and, knowing some of his family around here. So everything in the song Paradise, that's just our theme song if you're from here. Talk about Muhlenberg County and Adrie Hill and, all these places, Green River. So, always been a John Prine fan my entire life, and we had seen him in concert and everything else. So we thought, well, this is neat. This would be a neat thing to do one of these days. But again, we assumed it would probably never happen. Like she said, sadly, when he passed, she reached out, and after COVID, they wanted to do a concert series for him called You Got Gold down in Nashville. And it was to help raise funds for a new nonprofit that they formed in his honor after he passed called the Hello in There Foundation. And this does the same thing basically along with what Thistle Farms does, where they get money and then they give it to other nonprofits that are doing really important things for people who really, really need it. So in John Prine, if anyone who hasn't listened to him, please do it. He was Bob Dylan's favorite songwriter for a reason. But he was, the way he lived his life and the way he wrote his songs was just for complete and total empathy for everyone on the planet. That, look, they're going through something. They need to just, I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to, get what they need. That's the way he lived his life, and that's the way he wrote his songs, and that's the community that surrounded him. So that's what the Hello in There Foundation does as well. It just promotes that type of activity. So we made a bottle in 2022 for the first You Got Gold event down in Tennessee, and then went through a couple more years where we didn't do a bourbon, but they were trying to scale back because that first one was a huge event, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the second, third one was as well. This year they decided that it's time to do some other things, so they wanted to do one last You Got Gold event down in Tennessee for 4 days, and they contacted us again and said, hey, let's go out with a bang. Let's do another one of these bottles. And by the way, a good portion of the proceeds from these bottles go to the Hello There Foundation. That's why we're doing it. We do it to raise funds for that foundation, which is just wonderful, we believe. So that's what this product is. It's the 2025 version of the John Prine bourbon. It's totally different than the 2022. If any of your listeners have that one, it was a wheated bourbon. A little bit younger, still at 101 proof. This one is a rye-based bourbon, and it actually contains 5 different mash bills. Some of them are stuff that we put away because we've been around now for 6 years. Some of it is some of our earliest stuff we put down. The rest of it is also from other distilleries, just part of our collection, stuff that we've had for quite a while. And we did it for a reason. This bottle, some of John's most famous songs, when you listen to it the first time, you're thinking this guy was on crack when he wrote this. Because it sounds like about 5 different songs melded into one, like Jesus, the Missing Years, and Lake Marie, and some of his other great songs. But the way he puts them together, you finally realize, oh my God, this is my favorite song. This is wonderful, and it speaks to me. So we wanted to replicate this with this one. We wanted to just take 5 mash bills that have nothing to do with each other, and then make something really tasty out of it. So we had a lot of fun putting this together, doing the blend on it, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. We just released it 2 months ago. Made 7,000 bottles worldwide. It is available on our website. That's probably the best way to get it. It's also available in Kentucky. Hopefully it'll be on the shelves in Illinois here soon as well. There's some in Tennessee. But they can also go to the barddistillery.com and order a bottle, have it sent to them. And again, the proceeds benefit the Low and Their Foundation, which is pretty damn awesome, we think.
I love it. It's great tasting bourbon. It grabbed my tongue. It's got a little bit of that Kentucky Wildcat in there clawing at me.
It does.
It does.
Very nice spice on it and stuff. Beautiful whiskey. And I'm just going to assume that the Cardinal on here is supposed to be John Prine visiting. Usually they say when you get a red Cardinal visiting you, somebody from your past is visiting you that's passed on. Was that, am I right on that?
You're 100% correct.
Yes.
And that wasn't our... no, that's exactly it, because and Fiona and the Prine family, they chose the Cardinal as the representative for the You Got Gold events that they were having. So we obviously said, hey, we want John to be with us on everything we're doing. So we incorporated it into the 2022 bottle as well as the 2025 as well. But you nailed it. That's it.
Beautiful whiskey for a beautiful man that obviously was a great songwriter and stuff. Like Tom said, if you haven't listened to his music, go listen to him. Listen to the artists that sing his songs. I always say that Angel from Montgomery is probably his most well-known song to me. And just some beautiful music. So let's get into the technical part of your distillery. We really had talked about that. What kind of steel are you guys using?
So right now we have 2 60-gallon pots, kind of homemade with some old, the copper that's on top are from Hillbilly Stills over in Western Kentucky. So right now, if I am operating those things basically from daylight till dark all week long,
That's how long it takes.
Yeah, the best I can do is about 2.5 to 3 barrels a week, and that's if I do nothing but distill Monday through Friday. I can do about 2 or 3 barrels a week. So that's what we got as 2 little stills. We've got a old dairy cooler that we use as the cooker. It doesn't even have any heat on it. I have to heat up the water in the stills and then hurry up and pump them over to the dairy cooler and then throw the corn in as quick as I can to keep the temp up. And then we ferment in some stainless steel drums that look like beat up soup cans because they came from a soup factory. And they, I got them on some casters so I can roll them around a little bit.
Roll over my toes.
And because those 2 little stills, they're electric heating element stills, which means they're basically just 2 water heaters with the elements inside. So that means I can't cook on grain, otherwise I would just scorch the grain when I put it in. So we use a flour sifter from Amazon that I put a 100-watt vibrator motor on. That
makes the biggest mess.
Makes the biggest mess. So when the fermentation is over, we dip it out into this thing to make a great big giant dough ball, and then it filters out the wash so that I can then put it in the still without scorching it. So that's how we're still operating right now, and it is craft. It's craft no matter how you look at it, and we know a lot of craft distilleries doing similar things, and you can make fantastic spirits doing that. Fantastic spirits, but it's exhausting. It's not economical. So we have just recently installed a 14-inch Vendome column still. Now, it's not operational yet because the 2 giant fermenters that go with that are at Vendome in Louisville getting worked on. And then we still got a few more parts and pieces to attach to it. But when we get that up and operating, which will hopefully be here in about next 4 to 6 months, then instead of doing 2 to 3 barrels a week, I could, if I wanted to, do 20 barrels a day. And it just it comes down to just what's economical, what makes sense, because I can't be at those 2 little stills forever.
Sure.
This really frees up our ability to make great bourbon, because obviously a Vendome still makes the vast majority of all the bourbon on the planet. But yeah, we're operating towards that as quickly as we can. It's quite a jump, but it's taken us 6 years of working 7 days a week to finally get to where we're close to getting that type of system up and going.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I
Lots
love
more
to hear
sponsorship.
that where you started from and to where you're going and stuff. That really tells me something that obviously, the proof's what the pudding is, but I wanted to put out there that, we just had Mike Sherman from Vendome on a couple weeks ago. And Mike, my prayers go out to your family. I know your mother just passed. So the Whiskey Trip family puts their prayers out there for your family. And I love you, guy. That's what it's all about, is family when it comes down to it. I'm going to get choked up here thinking about it, because I just saw that post from his family and stuff, and then sent him a text and said, hey, we're thinking about you. But I love that you guys went with Vendome, and you're going to a column still. Do you feel like that's going to change your whiskey?
No, and because that's one thing that, you talk to a lot of people over the years, and you figure out, okay, what school of thought do I want to abide by? And we're very active in the American Craft Spirits Association as well. So we know distillers all over the United States, all of them fantastic. Some are entrenched in the idea of, oh, well, you must stay with this one or you must go with this. But then we also talk to the folks at Vendome and talk to other people in Kentucky, especially when we're talking about Kentucky bourbon. And we deal with Rob Sherman quite a bit. And, I've asked those questions of a lot of people, and it basically come down to, here's my school of thought, which some people agree, some don't, is it's just like a guitar player. If you hand them a cheap guitar or you hand them an expensive guitar, it's still going to sound like them after they get used to that new guitar. Just give them a minute. Let them play with it. Let them figure out what they need to do. Same thing with if grandma always cooked the best apple pie you ever had. If you put her in someone else's kitchen, do you think it's never going to taste like grandma's apple pie? No, she's gonna figure it out. It's the same way with a column still. You play with it. You figure it out. You say, okay, what parameters of my old method was creating that spirit, and how can I repeat it with this new equipment? My school of thought is that the spirit that you get at the end isn't a result of your equipment. It's a result of the distiller. So as long as the distiller is the same, they're going to get their spirit out of whatever equipment you give them. Now, what am I going to have to do to change all that? I've already talked to a lot of people, taken some good notes. But no, we have every intention of replicating what is known as our spirit. And most of our spirit, again, we're still young. We're only 5 to 6 years, about 6 years old. So most of our spirit's still in the barrel. No one's ever tasted it. We've tasted it. We know what it's like. But because it's 2 little pot stills, I haven't made very much of it. How could I? There's no way. But we know what profile we're going for, and we have zero concerns that we're going to be able to repeat it on the column. We just gotta play with the new tools.
Well, I love that you where you started at. You're showing me that and stuff. And listen, I've been to distilleries around the country, and I've seen everything from people using Hershey, big giant Hershey pots here in Texas that are worked over by Vendome and stuff. Mike was just showing me some of those they have there in the project they did for Tawakaro. And then, there's a guy using, or 2 guys using big old dairy tanks out in Colorado. It just amazes me what you can make whiskey on. There's a couple of distilleries out there using German stills, and I always think that's so neat because here in Texas, the German culture plays such a big role in our traditions and our heritage here. So why not make it on a German still? But you're right. Most of the bourbon in the world is coming off of Vendome, whether it's a pot still or a column still, and it might take you a couple runs, but I guarantee you'll figure it out, and figure it out fast. Otherwise,
and the best part about it. Yeah, exactly. And what I figured out from talking with Vendome and talking with Rob Sherman especially is, we'll talk about what everybody else is putting on their equipment. Of course, I've been to the distillery just like you have, and you look at all this stuff and thinking, my God, I can't afford that one pipe that goes into that still. How am I going to afford this whole thing and get it going? But when I talk to Rob and say, Rob, I'm broke as a joke. I don't have that type of funds. He'll say, that's fine, because you don't need all that shit. Here's what'll get the job done. And what I like about it, here's Rob. His family runs and owns Vendome, have for well over 100 years. They're the world class, top of the line stills. And he'll describe to me here's how you can make something. Here's the pieces you need to go buy at Lowe's, and he'll do this same thing. Now, does it do it as well? And will you have more problems with it? Maybe. But as far as getting the job done to make good bourbon, just build you this and go for it and do this. The fact that they will do that is one reason why I went with Vendome, because Vendome's expensive. I mean, let's not beat around it. I mean, Vendome is expensive stuff.
I seen Kim's eyes get big. She's like, I could
Oh, 'cause
bought more cats.
Oh, God.
God, please.
Yeah, cat traps.
That's what we need.
But one thing another thing that we went with Vendome. Not only are we in Kentucky, so Vendome is just known for the best Kentucky bourbon, or not the best. I'll just, because I know some people who aren't using Vendome and they make fantastic stuff. But
Nice save.
But they're known. They're just known to have the reputation of, look, you can trust this equipment. But I'll tell you one thing, going back to kind of my comment about what I think about when people come to me as a vendor and how I kind of real quick sniff them out. One thing about Vendome, with that reputation, that's great, but they're also only about 2 hours from my distillery. Mm-hmm. So one reason, yes, I did pay for the Vendome name in some ways. I paid for the equipment, but I was paying for the fact that they're good and they're right up the road, which means they can be here in a couple hours or I can be there in a couple hours. And that means a lot to me. I try to get as many of my suppliers as close to me as I can. Sometimes it's just so that when I need help, I can get it. Sometimes it's just so that I can say, hey, I'm coming to your office, ready or not. I've had to do that a few times too. And suddenly they go, no, we'll just fix it.
We'll come on down there.
So it's nice to, it's nice. It's nice to have some people close, but yeah, we can't wait. We can't wait to get that equipment up and going, see what we can do with it. And again, it just gives me a lot of my life back. Because those two little pot stills, they're great. They make fantastic spirit.
They do.
But I can only make so much, and I need to be able to make more at a time. So I'm thrilled to be going this next step as soon as we can.
Well, I poured the last expression I got from you guys, and this is your Muhlenberg Kentucky bourbon whiskey right here, at 105 proof right here. It's actually the logo on here is a little bit different. What's up with this logo?
So that is, and we're about to come out with a new logo that's has a little more contrast to it, so people can tell. But we designed that because the Muhlenberg line we made that for our county, because we're in Muhlenberg County, and we want to pay homage to Muhlenberg. But we also, on all of our Muhlenberg products, except for the John Prine, we put some type of a mule on it, and it's to help people pronounce Muhlenberg. Because most people, it's a name that most people aren't used to. They don't see it. So we put a mule on there just so people think mule. On this one, we have a mule coming out of a coal mine, and he's pulling a coal cart, the way they used to in Graham, where we're from. And there's a barrel of whiskey in the back, and actually the haze in the background goes around what is actually a black outline of Muhlenberg County. So we like to put symbolism in all of our labels. We try to put something in there, kind of a little Easter egg. Some people find them, some don't. But it's just paying homage to Muhlenberg being a coal town, or a coal county, Graham especially, where our distillery is. And because I grew up in Muhlenberg County, where I was used to most everybody I knew looked like a raccoon walking around. I mean, all you could see were the whites of their eyes because they were just covered in coal dust. That's what I grew up in. My family, they were coal miners. I had two choices if I was going to stay here for a while. I was either be a coal miner or work in the logging woods. That's kind of the options that you really had, when I was really young. So coal is what kept the engines going in this county for a very, very long time. And, has its time come, perhaps, but we can still pay homage to what it was able to do to build our community, build the world. Because without it, we wouldn't be where we are. Now, do we want something cleaner, something easier, something better for all of us? Certainly. But it has played a key role and continues to play a key role, especially in our region in Western Kentucky. So we want to have fun with it and put a little bit on there.
Thank you.
Well, I say cheers to you on this last glass right here of whiskey for the night for me. Man, got a good nose. Now, is this your guys' whiskey right here?
This is. So this is stuff that we put down.
Our little weeded.
Yeah, this is our weeded, and that the weeded was ready a lot quicker than the rye to come out.
Really?
We also used some different barrels with some different charring, some different construction on it. Which that's another fun thing going on in the industry right now is that you could do more than just the char. Now you could do a toasting. Now you could put grooves inside your barrel to create more surface area. There's just so many things being done now that just gives that spirit something else to do over the next 4, 5, 6 years that it's in a barrel. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see what we can create by, stepping out of the box a little bit while still staying in the same idea of what a bourbon is. So it's a great time.
I think it's a beautiful weeded bourbon.
Thank you.
Obviously, I don't know how many bottles. I might be around 400 or 500 bottles of weeded bourbon at my house. I love to try to have different expressions of it so I can compare each one. And some people find they're like, man, I can't believe the differences in these. And I'm like, that's the distiller right there. That's why I love to drink my whiskey neat, without no ice, no water. I want to taste it the way that Thom made it. I want to see the artistry come out in that glass. That's important to me. And then, a lot of people, they're surprised when I tell them this, or my wife tells them more than I tell them, but they're like, hey, how would Big Chief drink his whiskey? And she's like, no ice, no water. And they're like, why? Does he not like it cold? That's not it. A lot of water has impurities in it. Iron, if you're drinking city water, it has chlorine in there. And that does not need to be added to whiskey. Usually if you taste a bad whiskey, and I have friends that say, oh, this tastes bad, I'm like, well, take that damn ice out of it and pour your some stuff without that ice. It's probably the ice. It's probably the water. It's not the bad whiskey. Drink it like it's meant to be drank. Drink it the way you want to drink it. Hell, if you want to buy a whole bottle and pour it over a bag of ice, do it. I don't care.
Sure.
But if you really want to taste it,
just buy it.
Yeah, just buy a whole bunch of it. Buy cases.
Just buy
And
it.
it's kind of funny because this Muhlenberg is basically, that was our thought with this bourbon, is that it's $38 on the shelf is what it is. So we made it to where, look, if you want to drink it just like you drink it and I drink it neat at 105 proof, look, you're going to get some earthy tones to it. It's a younger bourbon, so you're going to get a punch to it. And if that's what you're wanting, this is going to do it. But also, it's inexpensive enough that if you also want to make a cocktail out of it and still have some oomph behind it because it's 105 proof, go for it. So that's exactly kind of where this fits. It fits in, but I'm with you. I love drinking stuff neat, seeing what I got. I'm not a cocktail guy. Now, you hand me one. It's hard to hand me one that I like. She's finally figured out how to. But I normally don't like a cocktail. I don't like a lot of ice on my bourbon. I like to see what it is. Now, at the same time, what I have found is that it is amazing when you can taste the same spirit at a different proof, and you can either add drops of water like you do if you go to a distillery and they do the tastings. I mean, that's legit. You add just the slightest bit of a drop
Distilled water.
of distilled or RO water that doesn't have all that calcium and iron and everything else in it. It's amazing what it does to that bourbon. A lot of people think that we pick the proofs of a bourbon just based on that's just the proof that it's just going to be. We usually try it at all these different proofs and see where it kind of hits a note with us. I've released stuff before that I kept it at a high proof when my favorite proof of that was actually around 96, but it was still awesome, and you got different flavor profiles from 96 to 107. So I would leave it at 107, and I would tell people, hey, if you've got good ice, if you do, put some in there, and then with every sip, you're going to get a different bourbon. You'll hit my sweet spot about 96, but when you look at the chemical reaction, this is where a chemical engineer comes in handy. Again, I'm mechanical. I just know how to turn a bolt. But a chemical engineer, they can explain to you what all's going on with the molecules and molecular structure and how that water is breaking it down and releasing different compounds and different oils, different esters. So it can be fun to start out with a bourbon, put it either a cube of ice or a few drops of water, and find that bourbon at a proof that you just really hit a neat note at. But I always start with it neat, and I 100% agree with you. Just getting ice out of the tray or out of the refrigerator, that's going to ruin it as quick as you can do it. You've got to have really good water or ice that you're putting in there.
This is not a commercial break, by the way. So speaking of different proofs, this is our Cinder and Smoke. It's 94 proof, the one that you're giving away, and that is where that bourbon wanted to be. So we tried it at 110. We tried it at 92. We tried it at 90, 98, but 94 was the sweet spot that just really brought out those flavors.
Well, it is a commercial spot because if you're going to drink whiskey, drink it out of the Whiskey Trip glass. You can buy those on my website, thewhiskeytrip.com. You can buy one of these Bourbon Bullshitter t-shirts or one of my hats. You can look as pretty as me. Holding my last glass with some of this Muhlenberg, Kentucky bourbon whiskey. So let's talk about Muhlenberg. I'm gonna mess it up all day. I don't know why I want to say.
Oh, again, that's why we put the mules on all the Muhlenberg, because we have other Muhlenberg products. We have cream liqueurs, we got flavored whiskeys.
And the former teacher here is not going to let you mispronounce something, especially with my damn bourbon.
But here's the thing, like there are people in Muhlenberg County that can't say Muhlenberg, so we put it on there for them as much as we did anybody else. It's a hard word to say.
It's not that I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's just my hill country accent.
That's part of it too. But
I got a quick story about Muhlenberg, about the word. So we hired a young lady. She still works for us. We love her dearly. But when she first started working for us, she grew up in Muhlenberg County, and she would go through the tastings with people. And she does a wonderful job. And she called it Muhlenberg. And I heard her one day, and I said, after she was done with the tasting, of course, and I said, what do you call that bourbon right there? She said, Muhlenberg. I said, girl, you grew up here. but she was putting the ing in the middle of it.
And my family's the same way. Most people I know in Muhlenberg, including me, no telling what's going to come out of our mouth at any moment, because it's just one of those words. It's just got too many letters in the wrong spots.
It does have that. It has some. It's spelt weird, but hey, to each his own. I can respect the mule thing for sure. Mule.
But hey, it's named after a Revolutionary War hero, so we all need to learn how to say it with respect. That's the goal.
That's right.
Well, we didn't even talk about your family. That you're the fourth great grandson of the founder of Bardstown. That's some pretty neat heritage, but they didn't make whiskey there. They just founded the town, and to have that heritage in your family. Why did your family just say, we don't like Bardstown, so we're just going to move on down the road?
No, the Bardstown was founded when my grandfather, my fourth great grandfather, and his brother, they came down the Ohio looking for salt. They were from Pennsylvania, southern Pennsylvania, near the Gettysburg area. And at the time, mid 1700s, they were looking for salt. Found some, like one would, but they also found this spot of land that thought, wow, this needs to be a town. You could tell where it was already a natural wildlife and Native American travel corridor. So they thought, wow, there needs to be a town here. And it was still it was frontier. It was technically part of Virginia, but no Virginian would go out this far.
Respectful Virginia.
Yeah, no respectful Virginian would go out that far. But my grandfather was an engineer and a surveyor, and then his brother David was a politician and businessman. So they put their heads together and said, well, why don't we just build a town? So my grandfather, William, he platted it, laid it out, and then they started just letting people know, hey, here's a good spot, and there's some good rivers, good travel areas, lots of good natural resources. Why don't you come out? So that's how you built a town back then. You built it like a little business with some plats, and they were actually going to name it Salem, but by the time it was all said and done, everyone had just started referring to it as Bardstown. Now it was misspelled to begin with Bairdstown, but there was a lot of misspelling going on back then. But yeah, when it all settled, they named it after those two and named it Bardstown. My grandfather William stayed there, raised a family, and one of his sons became a preacher, Isaac, and Isaac ended up coming to Muhlenberg County in 1823 to be the minister over a few Presbyterian churches that were down here. And we've been here now for 200 years. Our house is actually on top of where his house stood. So we're on the same farm and haven't moved now for 200 years. So that's how we got to Muhlenberg, because people always ask us, well, why is your distillery in Bardstown? I said, well, shit, they've got plenty of distilleries. They don't need another one. But now Muhlenberg County could use one. We actually have two in Muhlenberg. Yeah. Our good friends Coalpick Distilling, so you need to get them on here too. But they're on the other end of the county, near Adrie and near the part of the county, the Paradise, where John Prine sang about. So Muhlenberg went from having 0 distilleries and not knowing anything about the bourbon industry, that now they're learning real quick because there's 2 of us, and we're already on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. I'm sure Coalpick will be as soon as they are ready to do so. But that's how we got here. And even though our family, some of them remained in Bardstown for a while, as the bourbon industry started to pick up in the 1800s, they were just off doing other things. They were too busy doing business and political stuff. I've got those same family members. They were part of the fourth Congress in D.C. One actually ratified the Constitution. So been around for a long time at the start of the country. So we've got some interesting stories that go back through the family.
Well, I love it. I love your guys' story. We really didn't get to dive into Kim's being just a bourbon whiskey woman. Maybe that's a second episode with you guys of talking about Kim's background and the marketing part and the education, because I know that's important. And being a school teacher has to play a part in educating people when they come to your distillery. And I'm sure you've got it fine-tuned. I don't know if you got a switch out there to whoop them. But
I keep my paddle in my office.
a paddle. Oh my God. I got whooped when I was in school all the time. So, with a paddle with holes in it. That's what kind
I
of
believe
kid
that.
I was.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
gonna
have
say
no problem believing that.
Yeah,
Did you ever get whipped?
I never did. I was a good kid. But I saw some get whipped. Back in my day, back in the early 80s in Kentucky, you could still hang a kid up on the coat rack out in the hall and just waylay him if you were the vice principal.
Yeah,
and everybody else just sat there going, yeah, they need it. Give it to them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting where we've come to now. It's a little bit different.
A little different. Well, what states can
different.
people find you in? Are you online?
We are online, thebarddistillery.com. We're in, of course, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana.
Hopefully we'll be in Illinois here very soon.
Hopefully Illinois soon.
We're about to go back into some states that we've kind of pulled back from, because this, I'm sure you've heard from a lot of your people you've talked to. This industry is very interesting, and trying to get into other states is often easier to. It's easier to get in other countries sometimes than it is to get in other states, as we've found. Mm-hmm. But that's where you can find us now. The states she mentioned, but we'll be in some more starting next year. We're getting back out there to some of the states that we have kind of fallen back in. Now we're going to go back to. But online you can always go to our website and look what we have there. But more importantly, if you're in Western Kentucky, come see us. We're open 7 days a week. Come check us out.
We have a beautiful facility. Go ahead.
How far of a drive are you guys from the Owensboro?
About 45 minutes.
No, it's 30 minutes.
30 minutes away Kim drives. Race car driver. I'm a race car driver.
Yeah,
I'll
if
get
you
down there in
actually
30
drive
minutes.
the speed limit-ish.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've done it.
I'll call it 45.
If you're going to Green River Distillery, go ahead and make the drive down to Bard's Distillery. I implore you to go down there and buy the whiskey straight from this fine couple right here. I'm sure they would appreciate it. It really does
Help us pay for our fermenters.
Steel and fermenters,
Thank
right?
All of it. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
still not completely paid for yet. So.
And what days are the distillery open?
We are not open. We are open 7 days a week,
7
except
days a
Christmas and Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Christmas and Thanksgiving. Well, speaking of Thanksgiving, I was up at the Dallas Cowboys football game for Thanksgiving, and I did a little whiskey tasting with the Texas Whiskey Trail there. Not Kentucky whiskey, but Texas whiskey. I was up there with Frontline Heroes Outdoors. My niece is going to put the QR code if you would like to donate to Frontline Heroes Outdoors. The QR code is right here. This organization helps get veterans back into the outdoors, helps first responders get into the outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking, and it gives them therapy. Lets them take their minds off the stress of what they did or what they're doing for a living. So I'd really appreciate if you help my fellow brothers and sisters out and donate to this great cause. Now let's give away something here. Let's end this on a good note. I've almost come to tears on this show. I've laughed. I've had a great time. But you guys sent me a whole bunch of T-shirts, some Skittles, two bags of Skittles.
We won't discuss.
We won't discuss those.
That's just an industry custom to just send Skittles when we mail out things. It's just a thing that we do in the industry.
We'll discuss that off air.
Hope you enjoy Skittles.
We actually gave them to a young man next door, and Cody. He's a grown man, but he special needs, and he was very happy to get those. But here's what I'm going to do for you. We're going to give away this bottle of Cinder Smoke right here, and one of their T-shirts. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the T-shirts. I'm probably going to send those out as well to people and share. But a T-shirt, a bottle of their whiskey, and I'm going to throw in one of my rocks glasses with that for you. This is what I want you to do, folks. For the entire week, every post you see, I want you to put an emoji in the comments of fire, because you can't have Cinder and Smoke without fire. Tag 4 friends. I want you to follow Bard Distillery on Instagram and on Facebook, and then follow the Whiskey Trip. And then share and like this post. Every post that I do for the entire week. Share it, get the word out about Bard Distillery, about Kim and Thom and their great whiskey. I'd really love for you to do that. 6 o'clock Central Standard Time on Monday evening, I'll give this bottle of whiskey away, the T-shirt and the glass. We'll pick one great winner. And I just keep hanging with me. These giveaways just keep coming. The distilleries are working with me. I really appreciate you two sharing your whiskey with my listeners and with me. Any last words for my listeners out there?
We appreciate you having us on. I know it's taken us a while to get together, but it's always a privilege for us to talk about what we do and for people like you to appreciate it and help get the word out. Lots of great craft distilleries out there, so drink craft, drink often.
Yep, and I'll just jump on the end of that. Yeah, just support it. If you've got a local craft distillery anywhere, even if it's not close, whatever the closest ones are to wherever you live, go support them. Go check them out. Go buy their spirits. Go enjoy their spirits. Share their spirits. Because we've had one of those years like everybody's had. It's been rough. So we'll take all the help we can get. And if you're not used to craft spirits, you'll be amazed at what you will find. You'll find the most amazing things. Our house is full of them, and we love our stuff, and we hope you love ours as well. But we love everybody's. I mean, we try it all, and everybody's doing something different because there's different hands, different minds doing different things. So, yeah, support your local craft distillery and have a good time.
Well, where can my listeners find you guys on social media?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok sometimes. We're on TikTok.
You see the gray in my beard. It means that I have finally reached that point to where I'm behind on all of that, and I'm having a rough time. So I call it Tic-Tac and My Face and Instaface. I don't know what any of that stuff is, but we're on it, and we're trying to get on some more stuff too, because our social media presence. We were too busy making spirits, honestly, and we're such a small team. There's only 5 or 6 of us total at our distillery. But yeah, we're about to get on more. But you can find us. We're having fun. We're trying to get on there, and if I can get to it, if she'll let me, I'll be on there a whole lot more soon too as well.
He doesn't have anything to do with the social media.
Yeah, so. But you'll see me on there. I'm
It's
coming, folks.
Well, it's at the
again.
Bard Distillery. That's where you can find these fine folks is at the Bard Distillery. Check them out on their website. Buy some whiskey from them. I really implore you. Well, you know where you can find old Big Chief at, right? You can find me at the Whiskey Trip on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. I'm not on there dancing. I'm too fat for that these days. I might break an ankle or something. But I'm also on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button up there if you like these shows. If you're listening to me, make sure you listen to Mark and Matt from the Bourbon Life when they do put out some episodes. But listen to them. If you like what you're hearing, leave us that 5-star review in those comments on Apple Podcast. Those reviews, those 5-star 5 stars, they open up doors to distilleries like the Bard Distillery. They get great guests on my show like Kim and Thom here, and helps me put out great content for you. It helps me find that next distillery. Now, if you're a distillery out there, if you're a craft distillery, I am the cheapest fucking form of marketing you can get. I will guarantee you that.
That's right. That's right.
Come on my show. Let me help you tell your story to all my listeners out there. It will live on forever on YouTube. Your story will. I will take great care of you. I'm here for you. I want to be your voice in whiskey. So come send me an email, Mike@thewhiskeytrip. If you're a fan out there and you got a distillery in your backyard, give them my name, give them my number. It's all over the place. Give me a call, send me an email, and I will get you on my show. All you got to do is send me whiskey and work with me, and I'll work with you. So other than that, it's been a great year so far. I've got a couple of bottles that I had hidden away that I'm going to decide what my whiskey of the year is. And I will tell you, Kim and Thom, I'm going to put your Muhlenberg Kentucky bourbon whiskey in with those bottles, and we're going to see how it comes out. I'm going to do them blind this year, and I'm going to pick a winner and stuff. I only got one bottle I pick every year. I can't be Fred Minnick and drink 200 or 300 bottles of whiskey and say these are my top 100, 200. It just doesn't work like that. I'm too old for that. He's younger than me, so. But once again, thank you guys for coming on the whiskey trip and taking this ride with me. Folks, don't forget about this giveaway right here. A bottle of their whiskey, a t-shirt, one of my rocks glasses. This is Old Big Chief, and thanks for taking this ride with me, baby.